2026.
Councilman Hall.
Can you hear this? Hall screwed it up for me. Okay, let's do this again. We're going to call the meeting to order. Now that everyone can hear me and it's on the record, it's May 27th, 2026, and it is 6:30 p.m. So tonight, the invocation is going to be given by Zach Wilbur. He's the lead pastor of Palm Church and has been in that role for the past year and a half. He earned his degrees from Liberty and Kairos universities. And then a little bit more about him. Zach and Annie met, that's your wife, I'm taking it, and met in college ministry at church and quickly discovered a shared passion for serving others and building community. Zach has spent the past 10 years working for the local church, serving at 12 Stone Church in Atlanta and Skyline Church in San Diego, where he had the opportunity to serve with Annie as well. The Wilburs are from San Diego and love their city, and in 2023, they felt a clear calling to plant a church for their friends, family, and community who didn't know Jesus. Good job. When they're not serving or building the church, you can find them enjoying beach days, hanging with friends, family, and in the hunt for the best food spots around town. Make sure you do that in Santee, though. Their greatest joy and current boss is their newborn son, Jackson. Good for you. Congratulations. Who keeps life fun, loud, and running on very little sleep. How old is he? What did I read there?
He's 8 months.
He's 8 months. It's just beginning. Just beginning. Well, we're going to pray for you, and we're going to pray for your family and son. And tonight, the Pledge of Allegiance is going to be led by Maddie and Liam from our local scout troops. Where you at? Oh, no wonder you're hiding behind everybody there. Why don't you come up front? And then everybody, if you can, first we're going to start with the invocation. That means we're going to have the prayer first. I just want you to be here so we don't have to have you come up later. So come on up, Zach, and I'm going to ask everyone to rise. Yes, and make sure you don't do like I do, but speak into the microphone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys for letting me be here tonight, and thank you, Mayor, as well. And I want to honor all of your guys' time, and I saw the agenda as well, so I'll take a second and pray. But first off, I just want to say thanks for letting us be here, and thanks for letting me be here. It's an honor, so let's take a minute and let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you, God, for today. As your word talks about in 1 Timothy, Lord, we as a church and believers, we're to offer prayers of support and intercession and thanksgiving for our leaders. And God, I want to do exactly that tonight. Father, we pray for our mayor, for our city council and that team. Father, would you bring them wisdom? Lord, would they lead in a just way? Would they make decisions, Lord, that are a blessing to our community? And as Proverbs says, God, in Proverbs 29, when the righteous flourish, God, the people rejoice. And when the evil govern, the people groan. And so, Lord, we just pray for wise decisions. We pray for fruitful decisions tonight, fruitful conversation. We pray, Lord, that you'd bless the leaders who are over our country, who are over our city. And we thank you, God, for the country and the city we get to live in. We pray for these leaders here tonight and all those in high positions of authority. God, would they honor you in the decisions that they make? Would you bring them supernatural wisdom as they try to serve the communities that you've called them to serve? We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good job. Thank you very much. And it's regarding our T.A.P program, and it's an update on California Parks and Recreation Society CPRS State Award presentation. Come on down.
I've presented before. My name is Gary Bloom. I'm the founder of the T.A.P project, Total Altruism project. We're in both your Big Rock Park and Mass Park, where we have those little signs with grabbers, and everyone's using it. When I started this project, I wanted to prove that it was working to myself and others. I had a connection with Mesa College, and so tonight's presentation is basically from Mesa College explaining how they came up with the science part of the project at Mass Park and what the results were. And Nico is the student who spearheaded the project or the study at Mesa College. He has his partner also, Jazzy, but she wasn't able to attend today. But here's Nico with it.
Hi, thank you for being here. Thank you for the opportunity. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So a little bit of a roadmap. We're going to look at the background, which I'm sure you already know. We're going to look at our research design, some confounding variables, and then most importantly, the results and the conclusion. So as many of you already know, California is extremely biodiverse. So trash is not very good in our parks. We have a lot of native plants and animals, so trash comes from humans, right? So it's our duty to make sure we keep our diversity alive in California. So a little bit of background. As you may have heard, my final project was this. So I had the honor of meeting Mr. Bloom at the final project, and after, and I titled it Altruistic Nudging, which is basically the idea of reducing the cost, right? So if we can read what our research question was, if we add more trash grabbers and made trash, like picking up trash, more accessible to the public, then we should see an increase of trash being picked up, so a decrease in trash. So our research mainly focused on the effectiveness of trash grabbers that were installed at different parks. Taking into account confounding variables, we can make very confident predictions and results and conclusions. So this is how we set it up. I went on these days and times, and my partner went on those days and times, Monday, Wednesday. We followed the same path, and we collected data while walking. So basically, we counted trash, so from bottle caps to confetti to large plastic bags. We counted it all on our path, and we tallied it at the end. So there were 6 grabbers that were installed in the park, but we only surveyed those 4 that you see on the image. Now, the data. I spared you all the numbers, but we looked at a bunch of confounding variables. So it's important to do this because other variables might affect our data, such as how many people were present before and after, right? If there was more people, you would expect more trash, and that might, impact our results. So yes, we looked at park usage before and after. If park usage affected total trash, also conditions of our collections, so time of day of week, weather, park maintenance, and all of that. Also, we saw a decrease in trash type overall, so big and large and small trash types we saw decrease. But long story short, confounding variables, we didn't find any that were significant enough to include in our results, so it had no impact. Now for the main question, did the Total Altruism Project work at Mass Park? And the answer is a resounding yes. So I left the numbers out on the last slide, but I kept them in here because we can go through it, and there's a lot of good information here. So if you see, we did a 2-sample t-test comparing before and after, being the blue side is before and after being the red. So that negative number shows that there's a decrease, which is good in our case. We want less trash. And this p value is less than 0.001, which basically, in layman's terms, it means the probability of this result happening by chance is 0.1%. So the trash grabbers were the direct cause for our results. And we have a 95% confidence of our graph that we see here. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a little outlier on the red, which is the after. So that was the exact day that the trash grabbers were installed. And I would suspect that people didn't really know what they were and they didn't know how to use them. And you can see the days following, the trash count went really low. So that's really good. So our conclusion, no other variable influenced the trash count that we saw. And we got a 56.9% reduction in trash, which is really, really good statistically. I couldn't have asked for a better result. So yeah, that's it.
Well, I can tell you that's a great ending slide there.
Yeah.
We can always count on our sheriffs to take out the trash, right? And I think you have a presentation for us, right?
I'd like to introduce Ami Fry from Mission Viejo, representative from the California Parks and Recreation Society, to discuss an award that our department has received.
And you're going to accept that.
For sure.
Sure, I'll take it.
Yes. Good evening. I'm Ami Fry. I'm your CPRS State Board Region 5 rep. The CPRS Annual Awards Program celebrates outstanding examples of the quality facility and park design, programming accomplishments, effective communications, community leadership, and professional successes that take place daily in our profession. Through our 5 award categories, we highlight the people, places, spaces, programs, and stories that make communities like the City of Santee special. As one of the 16 Community Impact Awardees, the City of Santee's Total Altruism Project, or T.A.P, won in the subcategory of Thriving Environments. They are proof that a few dedicated people can make a huge difference. This volunteer-initiated and led project is built on a simple idea. When people perform small acts of kindness, they feel better. So why not make those acts easier? T.A.P chose litter pickup as its shared act of kindness and installed convenient litter grabber stations along popular park paths. When someone feels the impulse to help, a tool is already within reach, with multiple stations available to return it as they continue walking. Launched in San Diego parks in 2022, the program now serves 5 San Diego parks and 2 Santee parks. Community feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, with residents noting that the stations make it easier to care for their parks and act as everyday stewards of their environment. Pairing a simple grabber and net with strategic placement, T.A.P increases kindness, boosts community pride, and supports a cleaner environment, creating a ripple effect of good for everyone involved. So congratulations to your Total Altruism Project team on winning the 2025 Community Impact Award of Excellence for Thriving Environments. And this is a one-of-a-kind award. Everyone has a different one that won an award this year, and it was actually put together handmade by artists, LA-based nonprofit called Piece by Piece. So everybody's is completely original. Congratulations.
All right,
Yes.
thank you.
Congratulations.
Why don't you guys step forward of the lectern here so we can get a real good picture of you guys together. And I chose you to pick this because your department worked with them and are responsible for the good work. So for full disclosure, since we have scouts in the audience and some of their parents, when this first came to us, I can't help but to have listened to Gary and sit here thinking, is this guy crazy or what? And I'm sure I'm not the first person to think that, right?
You're right.
And so, so the reason why I say that is because we hear all kinds of things at a council. And we have to try and keep an open mind. And sometimes you have to, say to yourself, okay, let's try this. And that's not always easy. So if you have an idea, you should say something, you should bring it forward, especially if it's never been tried before. Maybe it's the beginning of something that was tried a little bit, and we just need to take it that one step forward. And so here we are. Is it almost 2 years now, or? Yeah, and we're getting awards and things of that nature. The staff is working hard and well with our partners, and we get a regular report. So the bottom line is that, you know what, I guess there really isn't too many ideas that are too far out there. And if it makes a better environment and a better community, then you might as well go for it. And that's what we have to do, is we have to say to ourselves sometimes, this might sound crazy, but let's go for it. So kids, just remember that sometimes you have to do all your homework first, and then weigh the, ups and downs before you bring something forward. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to bring it forward. Anybody else have a comment? Laura?
Well, first, Nico, thank you for that report. I really appreciate the data and the graphs and the fact that it's working so well. And Gary, of course, who could say no to your smile? It's just one of the best, but what a great idea that you brought to us. And obviously it's working. So thank you for that and spearheading that. And also it's a big deal to get a CPRS award. It's a lot, it's not a given ever. So congratulations to everybody involved in the project on that award. It's fabulous. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'll say something real quick. I really appreciate this. The math almost scared me when I saw. I haven't seen that kind of math in years. But it's really fantastic. The idea is great, and it's obviously working real well, so thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. All right, let's go to our next presentation, which is by the County of San Diego on the San Diego River Basin Sewer Pipe Lining Project at the San Diego River Trail Walker Preserve site. And I'm sorry, I forgot your name, so when you started off, please identify yourself.
Good evening, Mayor Minto, Vice Mayor Hall, and City Council members. I'm Michael Hilker, Project Manager from the County of San Diego Public Works Department. I'm here to present an update on the San Diego River Basin Sewer Improvements Project. So first, let me give you a brief introduction to the County of San Diego Sanitation District. This map shows the County Sanitation District's 8 service areas. It serves approximately 37,000 customers in the unincorporated San Diego County. In the city of Santee, the county has joint ownership of the Lakeside Interceptor with Padre Dam Municipal Water District, which is a sewer pipeline that the County Sanitation District operates and maintains. The pipeline conveys flow from the Lakeside Baseball Park to Mission Gorge Road Sewer Pump Station. This is a vicinity map of the sewer pipeline. This project focuses on upstream improvements to the Lakeside Interceptor and will rehabilitate approximately 5,500 linear feet of 30-inch trunk sewer by inserting a fiberglass reinforced liner to extend the service life of the existing pipeline. The project will also rehabilitate an existing meter station and maintenance holes, construct new maintenance holes, and maintain uninterrupted sewer service with a bypass system. This map shows the limits of the project from Lakeside Baseball Park to Magnolia Avenue and construction staging and bypass pump locations. During construction, the contractor is required to maintain a minimum 12-foot wide Walker Preserve Trail emergency access, and the trail will remain open to the public. Mitigation measures and best management practices will be implemented, such as installing sound blanket barriers around bypass pumps, odor control mitigation, and protect environmentally sensitive areas. Construction cost is $4.8 million, and the funding source is from the San Diego County Sanitation District. Construction is anticipated to begin in June and finish spring 2027. Work hours will comply with a City of Santee encroachment permit and will be 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. The county construction resident engineer will provide continuous project updates to the City of Santee engineering staff. This concludes the project update, and my team and I are available for any questions.
Questions? Okay, Laura?
Hi. I see the schedule. How long do you estimate the project will take?
Well, according to the contract, he wants to be finished by the end of the year, but going off of the contract working days, it might go into spring.
Okay. How old is the pipe that's in the ground right now?
Early 70s, 72, 75.
Okay. And how long will the sewer lining extend? How many years will it extend the life?
At least 50 years.
50 more years? Okay.
It could even go up to 75.
And so that lining, it cost $4.8 million. What if you did a total replacement just by, I'm not saying do it, I just comparatively, what would a total replacement cost?
It would probably be a little bit more.
I understand that, but ballpark it?
I'm sorry, I don't have that figure, but I could follow up with you.
No, just, I think it's a lot more expensive to replace a pipe than sewer, line it. So I was just letting you have a moment.
Yeah. We are maintaining the trail, open, and we would obviously have to close the trail if we were to do that.
I think a great way of saying that was, I don't have the exact number now, but I can tell you that we're saving the taxpayers a lot of money by lining this instead of complete replacement. How'd that sound?
That sounds great.
All right.
For 50 more years.
For 50 more years.
You should do this for a living.
Exactly. So here's my question, though. A 30-inch trunk, okay? You put that lining in there. Does that reduce the actual circumference? And do you know by how much? Because my concern is water volume.
The pipe inside diameter will slightly decrease. However, the coefficient of friction will improve, so the velocity will.
Okay, so even though you might have less volume to go through it, you actually have a better transition of water, sewer, whatever might enter.
We're basically maintaining the same flow velocity.
Okay. And so this has been here a long time. And this might be a question for our staff. Carl might be the only one been around long enough to maybe even know. And so we put Walker Preserve Trail in. Now, and maybe this is even pertinent now. How close, how far apart is a trail from
It varies quite a bit. Some parts it's directly underneath it. But keep in mind, that was built many years ago. The trail was actually a haul route for the RCP sand mining operation. So it does crisscross in a couple places, but in long segments, it's far away from the trail.
Okay. The only reason why I was thinking about that is because it's been there for a while now, the trail. It might have been a good idea to do that stuff way before we put in the trail. Because my concern is that even though the trail's going to stay open, we're not going to destroy it in any way. It's going to go back if anything is disturbed, so that.
Yeah, well, certainly through the terms of the encroachment permit, they're required to restore everything. So they'll be cameraing it, and we'll be monitoring it prior to construction, so we can look at it. And we often request those camera and video images before, so we can make sure when they're done, we can restore it to like condition.
Okay. I not having a great deal of knowledge about that, and I apologize for asking those questions, but I've been out of the state for the last 8 days, so I didn't get a chance to ask a bunch of questions ahead of time. Any other comments or questions from council?
I have a couple. Yesterday, when we went over this, you've answered a lot of them since we've talked. We're going to notify the homeowners. How far back are you going to notify them? Or how many feet?
Minimum 2 weeks in advance.
Okay.
Notifications will go out.
Okay. To how many homes and how far?
Approximately 500-foot radius from the project site.
Okay. And are you planning any community meetings or anything like that?
Community meetings?
Give them the opportunity to talk to you?
No.
I know the county doesn't
this
do
is
wishful
pretty much the
thinking.
extent.
I understand, but I just, we may need to we may need to look at something because it may be a little overwhelming to some of the people when they hear the sewer lines being replaced.
Councilmember Hall, we'll certainly be working with our staff, our marketing staff, to do outreach and let the public know. And precisely why the county is here is in an effort to do a community meeting tonight. Right. Staff requested that they come here so that not only city council, but the public watching knows that this is a county project, but staff is working closely with them. So this is the first step. The local residents will get the notification, and staff will be working closely with them through the process to make sure we're trying to accommodate everybody to the maximum extent practical we can, because there will be minor impacts day to day as construction does happen, but they're committed to keeping the trail, like they've said, wide and open during the construction. But there will be some times where there's trucks and equipment that needs to drive through, and there might be a little bit of impact for residents, just to be clear.
And I understand that. So my basic concern, again, is the smell, if there's any. I understand it's mitigated, but we're going to get the phone calls, so just wanted to make sure that, as we talked yesterday.
Okay.
So this is really the first of many notifications, is what you're saying?
Well, at least from the city of Santee, this is the first city of Santee. We'll work with marketing and get more information out as well. And again, they'll have flyers and handouts and door knockers that they'll be for the direct surrounding residents. Mm-hmm. And we can certainly look at adding some additional signage at the beginning and end of the trails as well, so that the general public using the trail is well aware of it as well.
Perfect, thank you.
We do have that in the contract for project identification signs at both ends.
And I know marketing's already been doing a bunch on social media about talking about this, because people were wondering what the heck the stakes were coming out of the ground. So they've already been talking about this for a minute.
Okay. Is that it? All right. Well, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate the
Thank
update.
you. Thank you.
All right, that takes us to our calendar. Any items to be added, deleted, or reordered on the consent agenda? Ron?
No.
Laura?
No.
Dustin?
No, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Rob?
Nope.
City manager?
Nope.
City attorney?
No, Mayor.
Are there any speaker slips?
No, sir. Motion
Thank
to
you.
approve consent.
Second.
I have a motion. I have a second. Please vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Don't let Ron get around.
I know, I'm like, I'm not moving it over there. It's going to fall.
All right. That takes us to the non-agenda public comment.
Do have two speakers, the first being Carl Constantino.
Well, Carl?
So I find it a little bit sad that I'm up here again talking about the same thing I've been talking about for about the last 9 months. But at our last meeting, or your last meeting, I gave some information to our city manager, our city attorney, and our vice mayor, as well as discussed with public services about safety hazard and liability issues that I'm concerned about at Shadow Hill Park. Sounded like it was going to get right on it, and here we are 2 weeks later. Nothing has been done. I was just there today because I'm there every day. Okay, and I can show you pictures that are dated today showing the same thing that I showed you pictures of 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, 6 months ago, and back. Okay, this is a simple fix. 2 guys, 2-3 hours, and it's done. Instead, we got ruts on the trail with saw blades in the middle of it. Somebody's going to get hurt, and somebody's going to get sued. So I'm voicing my frustration here, and I'm going to keep doing it until something gets done. This is a safety issue. This isn't a clean up a trail, pound stakes in a trail, or cut the grass issue. This is a safety issue. And I think that should give it some priority. Don't need to wait for a truckload of DG to come in. We don't need anything other than to have that edging taken out and let the water flow as nature intended it to. Will there be more ruts later? Sure, but there won't be saw blades inside those ruts. They'll just be ruts. It's a trail. That's it.
Thanks, Carl.
The next speaker is Linda Markow.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, and staff. My name is Linda Markell. I reside in Santee. I am here tonight to bring urgent traffic safety and accessibility issue to your attention, especially regarding around Markell Lane. As you know, it's not a two-way street. Now it is. It was in my family almost 70, 60 years, 65 years, and there's no traffic signs of speed on Markell Lane, and people are just going whatever speed they want. It's become kind of a nuisance because we got people flying down. And I walked it, and there's not one sign. Also on my side of Markell Lane, I'm requesting a handicap spot be put in front. We don't have one out there, and we need a handicap. It's just difficult. You know, it's very crowded now. We got a lot of cars parking. Other people are parking there now. Some cars been there for a while. Some, you know, they're starting to just, you know, go from Mesa to Markell Lane because it's a lane, and now it's a free for all with, you know, going as fast as you want because there's no set speed limit on that lane. So I was really kind of sad that I dropped the ball. When I go to pull out, I can't get out. I can't see. I can't see if there's a big truck. I can't see oncoming traffic. So I'm also requesting a big mirror be installed. I've talked to the condos association next to me, and they agree too that they're having difficulties because we pull out and there's all of a sudden there's somebody there, and they're not driving set speed. They're going whatever they want. So I'm hoping that the engineering of Santee check into this. Thank you.
No further speakers, Mayor.
Thank you.
Is that I apologize, I can't recall. Is that a private street or is that a public street?
It's a public street.
Carl, so all residential streets have a speed limit, correct? In the city?
If it's not posted, it's 25 miles an hour.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If it's not posted, it
That's
is
in the
25.
vehicle code, I believe.
Right. That's the
So
vehicle
this
code.
is more about
Yeah.
enforcement than
Right.
signage.
How hard would it be to put a sign there?
We can certainly look into putting a sign. We can put an order in and look at that as an option.
And maybe get sheriff to sit there with the radar.
Sure. I think we've already been in contact with the sheriff, coordinating on looking at some additional parking enforcement and other activities since it's been opened as well. And we do, and to address the other, we do have a process for handicap parking, and we can certainly reach out to Ms. Maricall, and there's a process and a review that we do for that as well.
Is that it? Okay. That takes us to item number 7, which is a public hearing on the adoption of a list of projects for fiscal year 2026-27 funded by Senate Bill 1, the Road Repair and Accountability Act of 2017, and finding the action is not a project subject to the California Environmental Quality Act. Maddie.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council members. I'm Brittany Gore, Senior Management Analyst with the Planning, Building, and Engineering Departments. This item is for the adoption of a resolution approving the city's list of SB1 projects for the upcoming fiscal year. In 2017, SB1 created the Road Maintenance and Rehabilitation Program, which increased fuel taxes and vehicle registration fees to fund local street and road maintenance projects. Revenues collected under SB1 are deposited by the state controller into the Road Maintenance and Rehabilitation Account, also known as RMRA. These funds are then allocated to local jurisdictions to fund their eligible projects. For the upcoming fiscal year, it's estimated the city will receive roughly $1,673,803 in RMRA funding. Staff has identified 4 projects eligible for this funding, consistent with the city's adopted capital improvement program budgets. In order for the city to continue to receive the RMRA funds, we are required to hold a public hearing each year and to submit a proposed list of projects to the state by the July 1st deadline. Staff identified 4 projects eligible for RMRA funding, including the bridge restoration project, which encompasses bridge deck sealing, patching, and concrete overlays. The concrete repair and replacement program, which involves asphalt overlays, resurfacing, and pedestrian ramp improvements. And the pavement roadway maintenance project, which includes slurry sealing, crack filling, and patching treatments to existing pavements throughout the city. This slide here shows the SB1 funding allocations for the 4 eligible projects, with $100,000 dedicated to both the bridge restoration and concrete repair and replacement projects, approximately $784,400 to the pavement repair and rehabilitation project, and $689,400 to the pavement roadway maintenance project. In addition to RMRA funding, these projects are also supplemented with other funding sources or revenue streams as well, including the Transnet half-cent sales tax revenue, community development block grant funds, and the city's general fund. In terms of the ADA pedestrian ramps, they are funded primarily through the CDBG program and through 3 of the SB1 projects. On average, each year the city completes about 60 ADA pedestrian ramps citywide, including installation of new ramps and retrofitting existing ramps to bring them into ADA compliance. Staff recommends that council conduct the public hearing, following public testimony, adopt the resolution approving the list of projects funded by the road maintenance and rehabilitation account for SB1 reporting requirements, and authorize the appropriation of additional RMRA revenues to the applicable CIP project budgets. That concludes my presentation. I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. I do not have any speaker slips. Council comments or questions? Rob?
Motion to approve staff recommendation.
Second.
Then, thank you. Any other comments? Please vote. Good job.
Thank you.
Brittany.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, here's another fun one. Continued business, e-bike information update. City manager.
I'm actually going to kick it off. It's been about 6 months since the council adopted the ordinance regulating some rules around e-bikes, so we thought it would be a good time to come back, remind people what council passed, especially with school getting out soon. We will be doing another educational forum next week in partnership with the Santee School District. We really want to get the message out to parents and kids, the differences between e-bikes and e-motorcycles, rules of the road, reminder about helmets, talk a little about our educational efforts as well as our enforcement efforts, and more things to come with e-bikes. And with that, I'll hand it off to Captain Ketra.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, and our audience. Tonight I'm going to walk us through the difference between e-bikes, e-motos, what are some of the laws associated with those, and what education we've done and what enforcement we've done. So you take a look at this first slide, you have the 4 bicycles up there. The first bicycle is your regular bicycle that we're all traditionally used to seeing where you pedal. And then you have your class 1, 2, and 3. I'm just going to walk us through the differences. Mainly your regular bicycle that has no electric power assist, you can pedal as fast as you can, but you can't go over the speed limit, whatever the posted speed limit is. So if you can pedal 40 miles an hour on a 40-mile-an-hour roadway, you can go 40 miles an hour. The class 1s, 2s, and 3s, they have maximum speed limits. Your class 1s and 2s are 20 miles an hour, and your class 3 has a 28-mile-per-hour maximum range. When it comes to the age limits, on your regular pedal bike, there's no age limit. You can ride those at whatever age you want to be. Your class 1s and 2s, where they go up to 20 miles an hour, you cannot ride those if you're under 12 years old. And again, your class 3 is you must be 16 years old for that. There are no driver's license required to operate any of these regular pedal bike or electric assisted. Helmets are for the under the pedal bike, class 1, class 2, all under 18. Your class 3, all ages have to ride it. So a little bit of the problems with the e-bikes is that they're not following the rules of the road when it comes to bicycles. They are required to follow the same rules that anybody riding a regular bicycle that we all rode when we were kids is required to. So these, again, when people see these e-bikes and they're going to call in complaints and things of that nature, the e-bikes need to follow the same rules. They're perfectly legal to have. They're perfectly legal for a teenager to ride around on or an adult to ride, as long as they follow the California bike laws. And just some of the common laws with those bikes are either wearing helmets, lights, reflectors, things of that nature. Where to ride. Ride with traffic as close to the right curb as possible unless passing, turning left, or avoiding hazards. Bike lanes, you must use your bike lane if traveling slower than traffic or when passing, turning, or avoiding debris. Sidewalks, can they ride on sidewalks? It's allowed in many areas, but legality varies by city. If there's a specific sign posted saying no riding bicycles on sidewalks, then they couldn't ride, and typically business districts. Other than that, you can ride on the sidewalk where it's legal. But they also have to obey all traffic signs and signals. So just like we have to stop at a stop sign or a red light in our regular cars, the bicycles have to do the same exact thing. Also, too, what you would more see in our parks is pedestrians always have the right of way. So reminding anybody that's riding a bicycle, especially an e-bike, that the pedestrians have the right of way, especially in our parks and our walking paths. Now, getting into a little bit more of the problem here. This is the e-motorcycle. Obviously, a picture's worth 1,000 words, I like to say. This is not a bicycle. I don't think this looks like a bicycle. This is an e-motorcycle. E-motorcycles are fully electric powered vehicles designed for much higher speeds than any bike that you pedal on. E-bikes, e-motorcycles, again, e-bikes are less than 28 miles an hour. These e-motorcycles are typically 30 to upwards of 60, even 70 miles an hour, depending on what they're modified. The best way to describe it is it's a Tesla with 2 wheels. These bikes are only for off-road use on motorcycle trails and recreation areas where you can ride your off-road vehicles. E-motorcycles are generally not street legal, and I'll speak about that a little bit more. Most e-motorcycles that get manufactured do not meet the Department of Transportation standards when it comes to your Harley Davidson or your Suzuki 600, your regular motorcycles. These bikes don't meet the standard. What does that mean? They're not even capable of being registered with the DMV because they're not classified as a street legal vehicle. There are some manufacturers that do meet it, very few. Even if the bike in its original design met the DOT standards, they would still have to have all the legal requirements that a regular motorcycle that we see in town has. Windshield, reflectors, license plates, things of that nature. On top of that, even if they were able to get it registered and street legal, you need to have an M1 license, the same license you need to have to ride a Harley Davidson or a Suzuki 600. And on top of that, you need insurance. So these bikes, as fun as they may be for the off-road enthusiasts, they are not to be on our streets. So that is my reminder. They are not to be on the streets of Santee or any street that in that regards. They are not street legal. So the problem. First, with the e-bikes, they're not following the bicycle rules that we previously went over. E-motorcycles being on the road with our vehicle traffic, huge problem. Another problem is mainly used by juveniles. I don't know about anybody else, but when you're in your teenage years, you tend not to make the best decisions, and hopefully you make better ones as an adult. Another problem, accidents and injuries. And then the complaints. Citizens are tired of having to deal with these rule breakers, these illegal e-motorcycles on our street. So what have we done? You can go to our sheriff's website, and it all starts with education. There's a couple ways you tackle a problem, but one of those is through education. And you tackled that through our website. You can go to www.sdsheriff.gov, click on resources, click on bike safety. This is the top page of what you'll find, and it goes up, it's about 5 pages. And it has every single rule you need to know and difference between e-bikes and e-motorcycles. So there's no excuse if you have trouble, you're not sure what the rules are. Can my kid ride this? Can he not ride this? It's all right here at the click of a button for you. On top of that, we've had a social media campaign, either our own social media. We've reached out. I've been interviewed by Fox 5 News. We've got on the TV channels. We've stressed the importance of this and got it out there with our local news channels. We've collaborated with the Santee schools, that being the elementary, middle schools, and our Grossmont Union high schools, where they have put this exact flyer out to their distribution list. So the parents of these middle schoolers, elementary schoolers, high school students have gotten this flyer sent to them. Additionally, we've partnered with our school district on June 2nd. Right here, we'll have another forum where we'll be able to go over all this stuff and answer any questions. But education is only one part of the solution. At some point, you do have to hold people accountable. If we speed, if we run a stop sign or a red light, we're held accountable with potentially issuing a citation. So I'd like to say on Thursday, March 26th, deputies from the Santee Station conducted a focused enforcement aimed at addressing the growing number of e-bikes and e-motorcycles being operated in violation of state and local laws within the city of Santee. So what happened that day? We contacted about 80 to 100 people. Riders and parents received educational materials designed to increase awareness of legal requirements and safe operation practices. Additionally, 12 citations were issued for violations of no license, registration, insurance, and no helmet. We also towed 10 e-motorcycles. They were all impounded, and I want to remind the public that fines associated with these violations may total up to $1,400, and that doesn't include the impound fee to get the bike out. Bikes that we impounded that day and getting towed. I think we'd like to say maybe we saved a life that day. One of these kids riding on that street. Since then, we have seen a reduction in calls for service, accidents, and legal activity. However, the activity does still continue, and with summer getting out, there will be more enforcement operations to come. And when I mean operations, those are larger scale operations where we dedicate more resources to them. But again, we always do have deputies patrolling and responding to either calls for them or seeing themselves and doing enforcement action. Again, just a reminder for the public, if it's an emergency, and an emergency could be you see someone riding one of those e-motorcycles or even an e-bike recklessly in the roadway, it's an immediate danger, call 911. That's the fastest way to get a hold of us. If you think an accident's about to happen or this behavior is so reckless, call 911. If you're just reporting a group hanging out in a cul-de-sac, maybe doing some wheelies, but they're not causing a danger to the public, it's a low-traveled street or something, call the non-emergency number. And I'd like to point out that the emergency number has changed. It's 858-868-3200. The old 5200 number does work, but it will be deactivated in the near future. So the middle one right there, the 3200 number is the current number. And with that, I'm available for questions.
Council members, you want to go speaker slip? Oh, Carl, want to come on up? I'm clairvoyant.
I just have a couple questions. That was a real good presentation. And I thought it was on there, but I couldn't find it. That information, those 5 pages information, I really think should be on the Santee website. I thought I saw it on there once, but I couldn't find it this time. And if I can't find it, that's probably not too easy to find. So I think that would be beneficial as well. I'm kind of curious, since this thing got past its waiting period and its informational period and everything, and beyond the March 28th thing, how many citations have been issued?
So we are keeping track of it. In total, since the warning period went over, I think it's about double that as far as citations go. We're probably around 20. I don't have that exact number in
Okay,
front of
yeah.
me, but based on my recollection, probably about 20.
Okay, all right. And of those, and I don't really know how to ask this, but because I think they're a big part of the problem, how many parents have been cited or involved with those citations?
That's a good question. So right now, the juvenile, the operator of the e-bike or e-motorcycle, receives the ticket. Obviously, the parents are responsible for taking care of their juveniles and most likely would be the ones paying the fine. As far as if there's a serious accident or something of nature that a juvenile causes, parents can assume some liability. In Orange County, there was a mother that was charged with vehicular manslaughter, basically, and some additional charges because her 14-year-old did, unfortunately, kill somebody with an e-motorcycle. That being said, it has not trickled down to San Diego County at this point, but that may be in the future. If there's, not for the ticket,
Right.
Carl, but if there's a serious violation or vehicular manslaughter case, that would be most likely considered by the district attorney down here as well.
Okay, all right, that was it. Thanks.
So, quick question for you. Maybe Sean knows this if you don't. That case up in Orange County, is that finished? Has it been adjudicated? Was there a decision rendered, do we know?
No, that's very recent. I think that's still going through the adjudication process. She was charged, booked into jail, but that's still fresh.
Yeah, I hadn't seen anything on that. Because I like for us to, Sean, follow that. And because I think that can be part of our, depending on, of course, the outcome, could be a good portion of our public education for parents. Because I think that a lot of parents go along thinking, just a bike, no big deal. You know, Junior can do whatever he wants. And, well, you know what? Junior can't do whatever they want. And if I may be going to prison for the rest of my life because Junior is doing whatever they want, I might have a different perspective on it. Ron, did you have something?
$1,400 fine doesn't hurt either.
Well, you know what? $1,400 fine doesn't always trip the trigger of a parent these days. I don't know why, but I think it's more about attitude than it is money sometimes. Anybody else? Okay, thank you very much. That takes us to item number 9, which is progress update on the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, Hazard Mitigation Grant, Defensible Space Maintenance Efforts within the San Diego River Corridor. Chief.
All right, good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of the council. So back on March 29th, the city of Santee had a pretty significant river bottom fire that burned approximately 10 acres, caused the evacuation of Walmart and several neighboring businesses, lasted approximately 2 days, and at the peak took approximately 100 emergency response personnel to contain. And the council meeting after that, I give the council a brief update on that incident and just our suppression efforts and partner agencies that night. And then we plan to come back at a future meeting to give an update on some of our defensible space maintenance activities and the status of the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant. So tonight I'm here to give you that presentation. I want to start by talking about the Hazard Mitigation Grant and a little bit of background. So in June of 2024, we were notified that we were approved for a FEMA grant through the California Office of Emergency Services, or Cal OES, that we were a subrecipient to a Cal OES grant for $7.2 million for hazard mitigation in the San Diego River Corridor. And $7.2 million is the total project cost that we proposed. And again, this is a federal grant that is granted to the state of California, and then we were a subrecipient identified by the state that they recommended for funding for the project. So under the terms of the grant, FEMA will contribute approximately 90% of the total, which is about $6.5 million. And then the local match that the city of Santee is responsible for is 10% of the project, which is just over $700,000. Concurrently at the same time, the San Diego River Conservancy very generously awarded us a $900,000 grant to cover our city cost share. That is about $200,000 more than our requirement, so that's a little bit of extra money that will also be able to be used for the project. What I want to highlight is that this grant is awarded in 2 phases. So phase 1 is preparing all the necessary environmental documents, obtaining necessary permitting, and preparing the fuel treatment plans for the grant work to occur. Between the 2 grants, there's about $810,000 available for those phase 1 activities. And then phase 2 will be the actual removal of the highly flammable invasive brush, removal of dead vegetation, and maintenance of defensible space. And that phase 2 work will have approximately $6.6 million for that work. And under the terms of the grant, completion of phase 1 is required before the funding's released and the approval for us to move into phase 2. This map shows that project area. So the blue line is the city of Santee boundary, and then you'll see the red line actually delineates where the project work will take place. And you can see it extends from our western border with the city of San Diego throughout the river corridor across the city to the eastern border with the county of San Diego. The structures in yellow are structures that are within a 1-mile boundary of the project work area. So to give our current status, we're working towards the completion of the phase 1 deliverables right now. The draft environmental impact report is available for public comment. We're in the public comment period for that. It is posted on the city's website on the fire department page. There's a dedicated page there for the FEMA hazard mitigation grant that does include the draft EIR. It's also available in print at the city clerk office, in fire administration, and at the Santee Library. That public comment period will close at 5 p.m. on June 22nd. So there's information there for how to submit public comments, and we have to receive those comments by the 22nd. We have the council hearing tentatively scheduled for August 12th, 2026. And then if our fuel treatment plans are approved and the EIR is certified by the council, the phase 1 deliverables will then be complete and sent to Cal OES and FEMA for their review later in August. Again, once those 2 agencies review the phase 1 work, they will give the approval and the ability for us to begin phase 2 work and seek reimbursement under the terms of the grant for phase 2 work. And what Cal OES has advised us is that right now the FEMA review periods are estimated to take a minimum of 1 year. They are seeing a little bit longer times from the review of that from FEMA. I want to move on and talk about the defensible space maintenance that we have been doing and will continue to do to protect properties in and around the San Diego River. So we have 10 areas of defensible space that city staff, our public services staff, have been maintaining going back to 2020. We've been declaring annual emergency declarations to complete this work. Later this summer, we'll bring forward another item for council consideration to continue this defensible space maintenance again this fall. We are looking at different options and evaluating the ability to do some of this work under an existing permit. And what I really want to highlight with the next couple slides is how well this city-maintained defensible space that our public services team has been doing for the past 5 years, how well it's helped us in protecting structures when we have had recent fires, including the town center fire back in March. So this map shows those 10 areas. The different colors, the red and the yellow, just delineate between the different defensible space areas they maintain. They're all numbered. And so if you look to the center of the map where spaces 7, 8, and 9 are, those defensible space areas are directly north of the recent town center fire. And they border Brookview Court and River Rock Court, which is just south of the Food for Less shopping center. And what we saw on that fire is as the fire burned to the north out of the river bottom and hit that defensible space, the fire intensity slowed significantly. And again, having those areas that PSD has maintained really helped mitigate that threat as the fire approached those communities to the north of the fire footprint there. We started this program back in 2020. The following year on Thanksgiving Day of 2021, we had the Magnolia Fire, which started in the Walker Preserve, and that burned up into the open space to the north. And along the Hill Creek Braverman area where defensible spaces 2 and 4 are, we had, again, significant benefit from the defensible space in helping protect the structures that were threatened over there. And then on the western side of the city, if you'll see where spaces 6 and 10 and 1 are, those border Willow Grove to the south and Carlton Oaks neighborhoods to the north. We've also had several significant fires in those areas where that defensible space has also been very valuable in protecting structures that were threatened over on the west side of the city. One other thing we talked about quite a bit 2 weeks ago with the Safe Santee program when council authorized 10 cameras as part of that program for city parks, trails, and preserves. City staff collaborated very closely, including the fire department and our sheriff's partners, with selecting the initial locations. And one of the things that we did was look at our fire frequency and how to maximize some of those cameras to help put them in areas where we were seeing frequent fires to help our law enforcement partners with investigating those incidents. So many of these cameras, these initial cameras, are going to cover some of the areas of high fire activity. And we do believe that's going to help with the investigation of these incidents. This last map, so it's a little hard to see. The white boxes that are pointing to blue circles are all the initial 17 camera locations. So you can see where those are proposed to go. And then the red dots are fires that we've had since January 1st of 2024. So you see a high concentration of fires, and then additionally 4 proposed cameras along Forester Creek. Also some pretty high concentration of cameras and proposed cameras kind of along the central part of the San Diego River and extending east towards the Walker Preserve. With these initial cameras, we were looking at areas that are city-owned properties where we had the infrastructure in place so that they could be deployed pretty quickly. So there are some areas to the west where we don't have initial cameras going, but we do have plans for further cameras in this next fiscal year, and we will be looking at how to also encompass some of the other high fire areas with the additional cameras that are coming. And that's the end of the presentation I have for you. Myself and staff are available if you have any questions.
Go ahead, Laura.
Yeah, thank you. I actually, after the last meeting, asked to see basically this map because obviously there's a large concentration of fires in what we call Mass Park West, which is behind Willow Grove, in between, you can just see the cluster. And when I saw the map with just the camera locations last time, which I hadn't seen prior, I didn't see any cameras in any of those areas. I don't know how, I understand like the Olive Lane, Atlas View area, there's definitely a lot of fires there, so 4 cameras makes sense, but to not have anything catching people coming up from the city of San Diego, behind Carlton Oaks Golf Course, and through that part of the trail system, I really think that this needs to be a priority area because you can see clearly from the map there's a lot of fires. So if there's absolutely zero infrastructure that we can attach to, we have to make something work. We have to get infrastructure out there because this is where the fires are. And they're going to be savvy to where the cameras are. And to me, that means that a concentration of more people will even go right in the area that needs the cameras the most.
Anybody else? Anybody
I
else?
have a question. Do we, and I understand that you want 4 there, but I mean, could we put 3 and move 1 over or something, or can we buy 1 more camera?
So we do have, thanks for bringing that up, Vice Mayor. We do have capital this upcoming fiscal year, and we're going to analyze these areas where we identify those gaps per Councilmember Caldwell's comments. Regarding the existing infrastructure, this is typically Caltrans right-of-way. We may have to seek an encroachment permit. But in short, what we need to do is essentially kind of analyze that algorithm and see what we need to do. At face value, we just need to core down a pole, pour a foundation, and adhere the camera. It'll likely be a solar camera. So that's essentially the dynamics of what needs to take place.
Can we talk to Caltrans about maybe putting in a camera for us?
We could start having those conversations.
I'm not interested in waiting for Caltrans because they move slowly. I'm just interested in getting, however we can make this work to get some cameras where there are a lot of fires.
Is there cameras in all the other parks? So I see 4 on the 5, I guess, Town Center, Mast. Do all the parks have cameras in them now? Or will they be covered at this point?
Yeah, the plan is, Councilmember, for next year, we want to go ahead and implement those cameras for those additional parks. We do have capital.
I'm talking about the current parks. So Weston, Ken Collier. I'm trying, what's not on this map here?
Right. So Ken Keller does not have a camera. Mass Park does have a camera, but has just a different system that we utilize. Town Center East does have a camera. Big Rock doesn't have a camera per se. West Hills does not have a camera.
Right.
Sky
Those are
Ranch
being
doesn't have a
added,
camera.
right.
We'll be adding.
Okay, yeah, that's what.
And
other-
the map was intentionally the cameras that were added at the last meeting. We didn't create it as a map to show every camera in the city. We can certainly work on doing that, but for this map, it was intentionally talking about the cameras that were approved at the last meeting and overlaying them on top of the fires.
Well, that actually even goes to the point, is there cameras in these other areas that aren't showing new cameras? Right? Does that make sense what I'm asking you?
Yeah, it makes sense.
You may have, there in Willow Grove, there may be 5 cameras right now, but you're not telling us that.
Well, we don't have cameras in those
I know,
sections.
but I mean, that's what we don't know, right? Based on this.
Right.
Yeah, because your comment was, we're not putting any there. Well, maybe there are already 5 there. Well, we know there's not, obviously, in that location, but.
So you're asking for a list of
We will
pre-existing?
prepare this map with all of the current cameras that we have in parks and trails. So it is a comprehensive picture.
Okay.
So I have a question. Where, okay, so we have cameras that might be activated and storing information. Where is that information stored? Is it within the camera? Because my concern is there's a fire, that camera gets destroyed, and you don't have any information.
So that you want to handle that, sir?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, no problem. It's all in a cloud. It's not stored at the actual camera. We have remote access in it, and it gets transferred up via cellular technology. So it's stored not at the physical site. So if the camera gets destroyed, we still have that video.
Okay, I just thought that was kind of an important question because, gee, we're just losing money then if we aren't making any use of that data. So I think this is really interesting. And, kind of in a half joking way, but maybe not, let's put some cameras up. And if Caltrans says, you know what, you have to take them down, go through a process, well, we already have one there. So let's ask, for forgiveness instead of permission. And you didn't hear me say that, Sean. And the same thing in other areas, like for instance, in this area that is actually San Diego, but we need to have some cameras there. So let's look at that kind of thing too, because who knows, maybe we can kick some behind and get some work done faster on an MOU or whatever to put up these cameras. I know I'm asking for a lot, but, I'm willing to push some buttons. I have nothing to lose at this point. So, anyhow, that's the report. Then there are no speaker slips, by the way. So, anything? All right. Thank you very much, sir.
So, yeah, Mr. Mayor, we'll be plan is to be back on August 12th with the draft EIR for your consideration. Our planning team has done a bulk of the work of helping prepare that, and they're kind of experts in that EIR process, and has helped bring it to this point. So we'll have that before you in approximately 2 months.
All right, thanks. Let's go on to some more camera information. And this is item number 10, which is actually new business. And that's the automated license plate reader presentation discussion. City manager.
It's a safety theme. It's not a camera theme. It's a safety theme.
Okay, I'll buy that.
As council knows, safety is a priority for the city of Santee as well as for the San Diego Sheriff's Office, who provided law enforcement services to the city since we incorporated. We are constantly working together to look at tools for our law enforcement partners to help improve safety in Santee, to try to deter crime happening in the city of Santee, and if crime does happen, to provide tools to law enforcement to investigate and hopefully prosecute people who commit crimes in our city. In the current year's budget, funding was approved for 6 automated license plate reader cameras, but we did that knowing that at some point we'd be coming back to council to have a policy discussion about the use of those cameras and how we might partner with the sheriff's office in doing that. So the captain's going to provide some information about ALE, our I shouldn't try to do the acronym now. Automated license plate reading cameras, give a little information about them, how they work, how the sheriff's department has had some successes with them, what we might expect to see if that's something the council wants to move forward with. I am looking for some direction from the council if you would like us to move forward with working with the sheriff's office and Sean and his team to negotiate a new MOU for the cameras that would discuss the issues of liability, privacy, some things that the captain's going to touch on, as well as public records, so who would be maintaining that information if we were to move forward. So with that, I'll hand it off to the captain.
Thank you. Good evening again. I'm very excited to speak about this topic. This is an essential tool for law enforcement, and it's actually been around for a decent amount of time. It's not necessarily new technology. It's just getting better, and it's something that I think would really help out the city of Santee. So with that, the following presentation will walk us through specific information regarding automated license plate reader technology and use. Automated license plate recognition, known as ALPR technology, it's a tool that's used across the United States as a mechanism to serve as a force multiplier when combating crimes. Pursuant to Senate Bill 34, which passed in 2015, public agencies, including law enforcement, that operate or use an LPR system are to maintain reasonable security procedures and practices to protect ALPR data, as well as implement a usage and privacy policy that is made accessible to the public. In addition, a public agency that operates or intends to operate an ALPR system shall provide an opportunity for public comment at a regularly scheduled public meeting of governing body of the public agency before implementing the program. ALPR cameras, so what are they? They're high-speed, computer-controlled camera systems that contain optical character recognition technology, which allows them to read license plates. ALPRs communicate then with law enforcement databases to aid in life-saving efforts and law enforcement investigations. ALPRs are a non-discriminatory tool as they scan each vehicle crossing their path regardless of the occupant's race, gender, age, or other characteristics. ALPR, you got me messed up now. LPR technology captures images of license plates and allows law enforcement agencies to identify and compare plates against those of cars driven by people suspected of being involved in illegal activities. Currently, the Sheriff's Office uses flock safety LPRs systems in fixed locations throughout various other contract cities, as well as unincorporated areas of San Diego County. Also, various businesses in the city of Santee have also privately purchased flock safety cameras, and some of them do share those with law enforcement. So to help shed light on how an LPR camera functions, I'd like to walk you through the steps involved in an LPR camera notification. Using a flock interface, license plates captured by the cameras are compared to California Law Enforcement Telecommunications System, also known as CLETS. This is data that's related to missing persons, wanted persons, and most commonly stolen vehicles. If a camera reads a plate contained in the database, a real-time notification, and that's what you see up on the right-hand portion of your screen, is generated and sent to users such as dispatchers, patrol deputies, and detectives. Alerts may also be broadcasted by our Sheriff's Communications Center. So once an alert's received, a visual confirmation is made for validity. You always back it up. You trust but verify. And then staff respond accordingly to the severity of the circumstances. Is this a stolen vehicle? Is this a murder suspect? This cross-reference confirmation helps validate the accuracy of the alert to ensure law enforcement respond appropriately. All right, so LPRs, they've proven to be extremely beneficial and effective law enforcement operations, acting as a force multiplier for agencies that struggle with staffing issues and high caseloads. Detectives have been able to increase their case closure rates and reduce investigative timelines. Patrol deputies can respond to at-risk individuals and crime suspects in real time based on alerts provided by the system as it compares license plates to law enforcement databases. Coordination efforts between other local law enforcement agencies are also enhanced by collaborative investigations. Currently, every municipal police department in the county of San Diego and 5 of the sheriff's contract cities are using LPR camera technology. It may not be with Flock, but with another company. The 5 contract cities are Del Mar, Encinitas, Poway, San Marcos, and Solana Beach. All of this said, systems like LPRs move law enforcement toward precision policing by placing limited resources in most optimal positions. So with that, I want to share a few success stories. Not only are other local law enforcement agencies seeing successes with their LPR programs, but sheriff contract cities have already experienced many success stories since our first fixed LPRs rolled out in about 2022. Just to share a few. Sheriffs, most notably, Flock assisted with the sheriff's homicide detective during a hit-and-run murder investigation. Using the Flock LPR database, detectives were able to identify the suspect vehicle fleeing from the scene. The suspect was later arrested by the Fugitive Task Force. North Coastal detectives safely apprehended several suspects who committed thefts from numerous businesses since fixed LPR cameras have been active in their area. LPR cameras have also helped relocate a child who was taken during a parental abduction and concealed in Riverside County. Sheriff's Fugitive Task Force members located the child and arrested the suspect based on LPR data. Lastly, North Coastal area detectives utilized Flock LPR system to solve a multi-jurisdictional storage facility burglary ring. Several suspects were identified and later arrested. Stolen property from several of the burglaries was recovered and returned to their rightful owners. So Flock safety LPRs have already made a positive and measurable impact on public safety efforts in other cities throughout San Diego County. But Santee is not alone in this success. Locally, we've had success with LPRs as well. Most recently, a string of storage unit burglaries in Santee and Lakeside. A suspect vehicle hit on a Flock search. A search warrant was later conducted on a registered owner's storage facility. He was arrested, and multiple stolen items were recovered from that. Like I mentioned earlier, some local businesses in Santee have LPRs. If you shop at our local Target, or if you shop at our Home Depot, or you shop at the shopping center across from Santana High School, those companies have purchased private LPRs for their parking lots. Target has been a major collaborative with us when they have thefts. Be on the lookout for a vehicle with a make, model, and license plate was shared with local law enforcement. We discovered the vehicle was involved in multiple thefts throughout Southern California, resulting in thousands of dollars in loss. The subjects, once they pulled into the Target, they flagged on the Flock system, and we were notified. The subjects were later arrested at the Target here in Santee when we were alerted to the vehicle being present. Additionally, a gift card scam. Detectives were alerted by Target Asset Protection staff that a vehicle had pinged on the Santee LPR Flock at their location. This was for a subject wanted for a gift card scam that affected the entire state. Additional evidence of gift card fraud, all because of Flock. So what can you expect with Flock? Some common results. Stolen vehicle recoveries, firearm seizures, narcotic seizures, located missing persons, arrests of prolific offenders, arrests of murder suspects, carjacking suspects, kidnapping suspects, home invasion suspects, an overall reduction in crime and persons and property. All right, so what are the safeguards? These are the concerns we have with new technology or newer technology. LPRs. Given the potential of concern for privacy safeguards, I'd like to now walk you through the policies and mechanisms to ensure vehicle information is protected, private individual information. Before being allowed to LPR databases, authorized sheriff staff must complete LPR-specific training and California Law Enforcement Telecommunications System, CLETS, certification tests. Access to this information is limited to life-saving and criminal investigative efforts. I can't run my buddy from high school and see where he's driving around. That would be illegal. LPR data is not commercially shared or sold, and sheriff's LPR data is not shared, I repeat, not shared with the federal government or out-of-state law enforcement agencies. Flock LPR data is only retained for 30 days unless the information is retained by an investigator as part of their criminal investigation. Some investigations go more than 30 days, so we'd have to retain that data for criminal prosecution purposes. Audits. Audits for access and use are completed by the sheriff's LPR coordinator each quarter. The audit will verify proper use in accordance with the above authorized users. If there's any concern about data and data breaching, I wanted to bring that up. Flock uses Amazon Web Services, AWS, for their data storage. AWS is CJIS compliant. CJIS stands for Criminal Justice Information Services. It's administered by the FBI. CJIS manages the most sensitive data in the United States law enforcement system. So that's what's being used to contain this data and keep it safe. Transparency. The Sheriff's Office is committed to transparency. We also respect the privacy concerns of all residents we serve. In an effort to be as transparent as possible, the Sheriff's Office has an LPR website published that you can see on your left with information regarding Sheriff's Office LPR use. It contains information on the following: what's detected, what's not detected, acceptable use, prohibited use, access policy, hot list policy, data retention, the number of cameras, organizations granted access, none. We do not grant anybody full-blown access. Outside agencies must request, if they want to request our LPR data, they must request it, and that goes through our LPR coordinator to ensure it meets our criteria in order to release it. And there are organizations, and then the organizations who share their LPR data with us. We also put where the cameras are, and if you notice there next to Santee, it says 2. Those are at Las Colinas Detention and Reentry Facility. So those are county-owned LPR, or excuse me, those are 2 cameras that we contracted with Flock, and they are at our jail county facility. Camera information. So this is just some generic information about the camera to be transparent. So we use cameras from the company called Flock Safety. Each Flock camera costs $3,000 per year. It's a reoccurring charge. Installation for cameras, approximately $150. Flock Safety will cover all ongoing maintenance, any maintenance issues or warranty issues. What they don't cover is any vandalism or criminal damage to the cameras that are usually affixed to existing infrastructure within the city. Each camera captures 2 lanes of traffic in one direction. It operates under all weather, and it can be solar powered, no electrical needed. If some of those cameras were to be damaged due to vandalism or criminal activity, these are just some of the replacement costs that would come with it. $150 for existing infrastructure, standard install, $650, camera relocations, things of that nature. So these are just the basic prices if there was any replacement costs associated with it. In summary, private LPR cameras are in the city of Santee already. If you have a HOA or your own private house, you could contract with Flock and have it at your own home if you wanted to. But they already do exist in some of our private shopping centers. The cost, again, about $3,000 per year with a $150 install. Sheriff's Office is compliant with SB 34 regulations. Sheriff's Office is also compliant with SB 54, Senate Bill 54, which again, that regulates that we cannot share for immigration purposes or reproductive rights. SCSO only shares with local California law enforcement agencies, and this request is vetted prior to release. And data is only retained for 30 days unless it's an ongoing investigation. Again, we have a transparency website on the policy and use. Only trained personnel can use it. It can only be used for official law enforcement investigations. It's a force multiplier with hundreds and hundreds of success stories. And the city and the sheriff's office will collaborate on camera placements. Our recommendation is to receive this presentation and provide direction to the city manager and council. And with that, I'm available for questions.
Thank you. We do have one speaker.
Carl Constantino.
Yeah, I don't have to be sold on these. This is a great idea, and I wish it was there sooner. But one suggestion, I guess, when you guys were installing the smart signal cameras, there was a lot of social media comment thinking that they were red light cameras or surveillance cameras. No matter how many people got on there and said, no, they weren't. A lot of conspiracy theories out there. So I would just suggest that maybe your marketing goes out there and says, hey, we're installing license plate readers. These are not surveillance cameras. These are not red light ticket cameras. But probably without telling them where they are. That's it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carl. Laura, you have some comments or questions?
Oh, does anybody else? I feel like I'm going for something, but I do.
Well, I saw you scribbling a bunch of notes. I don't want you to forget what you were thinking.
Well, sure. Thank you for the presentation. And as the product stands today, I definitely see the value. So I'll put on my readers to see what notes I actually wrote. I did have a question. Can these be used? Are they used for felonies or misdemeanors? How do you determine which crime is a crime worthy of taking a picture of someone's license plate?
Well, they always take pictures of the license plate. As far as an investigation, all crime is important, and whether it's a misdemeanor, if it's a shoplifting, and there's a getaway vehicle, in the middle of the night, we're going to run all the plates for that specific time frame, and we're going to investigate the smallest crime to the biggest crime.
So it could be running a red light?
No. That wouldn't be that. We wouldn't get a criminal investigation for a red light. So, traffic purposes, no. It would be reported crimes. It was a crime, a fight, a theft, something of that nature, and it got reported to us, and the suspects fled in a vehicle, and now we're going to look at the LPRs in that area to see if they captured say they just have a description, it's a white truck. So we're going to get all the pictures of the vehicles that went through, and up there's the white truck. Now we have the license plate. Now we have an investigative lead other than just a white truck.
Got it.
So not used for traffic violations in any way, shape, or form.
The reason why I ask is because if you ask people in Santee, they would say that's a crime. I think there's going to be the perception that you're going to catch people running red lights.
No, that's
things
a
like
completely
that.
different system.
Okay. We definitely hear a lot about auto theft in Santee, particularly Jeeps. So I can see the value there. We've had some business break-ins, and I did learn going through this process just from the reporting that you put together that some businesses are already using Flock. I was paying attention to it when El Cajon started using it, so that's when it first came on my radar. But Chief Walls from the city of San Diego, he credited Flock for catching the active shooters who ultimately killed themselves. But I was paying, and then yesterday I think we all had an Amber Alert on our phone, so I could see it in an instance like that. I've been tracking the Nova version of Flock, and so that's where I have some concerns. And I guess through, the community's ability to do public records requests, we could become aware of those concerns, because I don't know of another mechanism where we as council, we're not involved with negotiating the contract, and, we're not, it's between the sheriff and county, I guess, and Flock. So if there's changes to the contract, I don't know what our role is as a city to understand those changes. And with my question, I think you could answer right now. That's just a comment, but my question is, would we be folding into a current contract with Flock if we approve this? And what are the terms, like what's the length of that contract that you have with Flock, and when's renegotiation of that?
Absolutely. So we don't have different contracts for different cities. It's a one-stop shop with what we believe is the most safest and reliable for what contract we want to be with Flock. What are the safety requirements and things of that nature? Because there are different options you can have with Flock, and some options we may be comfortable with, some options we might not be comfortable with from a legality standpoint. And so we, like with our lawyers, go through it to make sure that we're following all of the Senate bills and things of that nature, and we're comfortable with the transparency and what tools we're using from Flock. So it would be every contract city that contracts with us, and even our unincorporated, we're going to have the same package, if that makes sense. It'll be the same package that Poway has versus Santee has, if we choose to have it. So the same package, and that contract, it's a 1 year. So we may in 1 year, and it wouldn't affect this, in 1 year, if we didn't like the direction Flock was going from our legal standpoint, we would choose a different company that met our transparency, our safety requirements, or things of that nature. And there are many LPR companies. Flock is just one of them that right now we like their product and are using it, but that could change you hope it doesn't change. You hope the quality of service, but if there was ever a decline in service or things of that nature, they weren't meeting our contract obligations that we've contracted with, we would go to a different company, just like with any city business would.
And that leads to my next question. If we did decide to go to a different company, we're making investments, the city is making investments in the Flock product. So I would assume it's not interchangeable with another camera company.
They're
The hardware.
They're
leases.
leases.
Oh,
We don't buy them.
But, so that's what it costs every year?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
It's a total lease, so we're not in it with any product. It's just a walk away like a car. Turn the car back in.
Okay, thanks.
Well, I think the mayor and I saw Flock back in 2023. I know I met with them personally in 2023. And the price, from what I remember, hasn't changed in those 3 years. So it looks like everything is the same. I know that most of the cities have them, as you suggested. La Mesa has them. El Cajon, the email I have, I just pulled it up from 2023. El Cajon at that time had 40 of them, and I think they're over 100 now. So I think they've really gone up. What it does is it reads the license plate, and if there's somebody there, they radio ahead. From what I understand, you can correct me if I'm wrong. They radio ahead, and if a unit's in the area, they can pull them over and catch them right there on the spot.
It's real time.
I'm sorry?
It's real time.
Real time, right. And I know when the dentist was killed, we mentioned this the other day, when the dentist was killed, they actually got the guy in El Cajon from a Flock camera on that. That was one too. So you're hearing it daily where those are working, and they're definitely worth it. I've been trying to get these into Santee for literally 3 or 4 years now, and I think it's a great thing. I think we need to get started. Frankly, I don't think 6 is enough, but we'll start where we can. So I'll make the motion to approve.
Guys?
Mayor, just to be clear, we're not taking a motion today, we're just getting direction.
All right, thank you.
So this is one that I go back and forth on just philosophically. There's an old saying that those that relinquish their rights in the name of safety deserve neither. And that's the fundamentalist in me. But with that being said, this is, I know that the city of Santee has a limitation on the number of deputies that we can physically afford on an annualized basis. And that number, as contracts continue to increase, that number sometimes decreases. Mr. Mayor, you recall when we had to decrease deputy units. We had to get rid of a motor officer, and who knows what's coming up in the future with upcoming contracts. So much like we discuss oftentimes with the fire department, our job is to give them the best tools that we can afford so that they can do the most with the men and women that are out there. And hearing from the captain his personal belief in the ability to do more with less with these, I've got to take my personal hat off and remember I work for the city of Santee, and this isn't my personal thing. This is what's best for the city as a whole. And as a representative, I need to do what is best for the city. And so I lean towards letting this happen, but yeah, it's not without personal consternation that we do this just because of infringing on private rights, which are being diminished all the time regardless. But I just don't want to be the one that's actually doing it. So with that being said, I too support this.
City manager, maybe for everybody's understanding, I don't know if we actually heard that today. What is the cost of this to the city of Santee?
We have
Financially.
We have annually, assuming costs don't change, we'd be looking at about $18,000 because it would be $3,000 per camera per year, and then upfront there would be an initial installation cost for each of them of $150.
Right. But additionally, the program is ran by the County of San Diego, by the Sheriff's Department, and City Attorney. We, as a city, we could cancel this in any time. We're not obligated. We can walk away from this if we don't like what's happening.
That's right. I mean, the MOUs that the sheriff has already entered into with other cities has a 30-day termination period. So we would cancel pursuant to that.
And just make sure the public knows that, we're doing what's best for the public here, but at any given time, we can, obviously it's not going the direction we think that it should be going. We have options to obviously get out of it or make changes, ultimately. So obviously I'm in favor of getting this done. It's another tool, like Councilman McNellis said, for the Sheriff's Department. They need more, as many tools they can do are used to capture the bad guys, as to say. So.
And we would be bringing the MOU back to council, so the direction would be for us to negotiate it, but you would have the opportunity to review and approve that before it was entered into.
Something that I would like to do is put this in a little perspective, because there's always this question about privacy. Privacy, which is granted to us under the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution, unreasonable search and seizure. The courts have maintained for so many years that anything that is in plain view in the public is not private. Now, there have been some exceptions to that rule along the way, but there's always been some kind of reason for that. The way this used to be done is police officers and sheriffs and any other law enforcement officer that's investigating a crime used to just drive around, and then they would write down a license number, because using the white truck theory, write down the license number of every white truck that they would see that was driving around the neighborhoods. And then they'd call it in on the radio to the California law enforcement teletype system, and then they would find out information on it. And so that happened ever since, I think, the radios were invented and the teletype system was invented. for this information. The only change that has occurred is that we've employed technology that does that for the officers. So, Rob, to your comment that we got to give them the best tools possible. And that's what this does, because, you know, we talk about doing more and more for less and less. And I've said it before, I don't want to get to the point where we're doing everything with nothing at all. So this is something that helps out. And I'm glad you mentioned what happened over at the Islamic Center. Now, I guarantee you that eventually somebody would have seen those 2 dead bodies in the car. You would think so, because there might have been a parking controller come by to put a parking ticket on the car and would notice that. The difference is that because of the plate reader, we found them endangering themselves trying to find these people. And so for those reasons alone, and for the expediency of being able to solve crimes. Now, I was listening to the storage theft monologue that you gave, and I once did a theft of belongings at
You have the right to remain silent.
I know I have a right to remain silent. At storage facilities between San Diego County and Orange County. And I can tell you that the only thing that helped us in that investigation was there was a couple of businesses that actually put cameras in their storage facilities. And then they also were recording every license plate that went in. So when we found that the same vehicle was coming in at the same time each day or different days or certain hours, that's where we got leads. Because you wouldn't find out that there's a storage theft maybe for 6 months to 8 months because you have somebody that's deployed perhaps in the military, kids that are off to college, and then their stuff is in storage, and when they come back, they get it. So you don't know when those crimes occurred. But when you find out that you have a number of storage facility units broken into, and you go back and you start looking, what's the most common thing? Because let's say that you're looking down each different row, and you know that those cars only have one storage facility, but they're at every single row at a certain time. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of investigation. But with that license plate reader, man, I'll tell you what, you find out just like that. And that's why so many jurisdictions and agencies are deploying them, because of the fact that their law enforcement agencies are making the best investigations possible. And if anybody watches, one of these shows on TV about evidence and whatnot, they have found out that crimes that are being solved that are 20, 30, 40, 50 years old because of technology, that's the reason for having the technology. And for that reason, I am going to support this 100%.
Can I ask you a quick question, too?
Yeah.
So if a sheriff's deputy is driving down the street right now and he sees a car, is he able to punch in that license plate?
Yeah, we have computers in our car that, and we have access right to CLETS, and we can punch in a license plate. It'll tell us, give us most of the DMV, basically your typical what's on a driver's license or on your registration. It will give us that information just right then and there. I mean, that's how, when I'm at stoplights back in my day, you run all the plates while you're waiting in the red light, hoping that you run a stolen plate, and now you can recover someone's $30,000 car.
So technically, it's doing the same as what the license plate.
Doing the same thing, but obviously we were driving. We had LPR cameras on our cars, and you would be driving, and all of a sudden it'd come up on your computer, stolen vehicle, and you'd hit the brakes, and you'd have to back up, and there would be the car. And so it's just because I don't know that car is stolen, and while I'm driving, I can't type. That'd be illegal.
Yeah.
I can't do that all at the same time.
I was going to say, don't be typing that while you're driving.
I know.
Unless you have a partner.
Doesn't admit it either.
So it's doing it for you at hyperspeed.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a great tool, and there's nothing more satisfying than being able to return stolen property to a victim that got their property.
I guess that's my point. It's already being done in a different way. All we're doing is changing the way it's being done. So,
correct.
Thank you.
Anything else, guys? All right, then. I think you have direction. Great, thank you. Takes us non-agenda public comment.
No speakers.
No speakers. Okay, that takes us to City Council report.
We were voting on the new budget, and with an 8-4 vote, we denied the budget. We turned it down, we rejected it.
Wow.
And ironically, I had people on each side of me that voted for a different reason, but I kept looking at the bottom line, $37 million upside down in 4 years, $84 million upside down. Until we literally start dealing with that, now we have to do it. And they panicked when they saw that. And we're going to have a meeting on June 11th and to discuss obviously will be adjusted budget. But we're finally looking to, and again, they're voting for, because they don't want fair increases, some of them, but I voted for that reason. And hopefully we'll come back with an adjusted budget.
Good. Good job. Laura.
Okay. I attended the grand opening and ribbon cutting for the new 85-degree cafe bakery. It's delicious. Attended the San Diego River Conservancy meeting. Vice Mayor and I don't know if any other council members were there, but the Vice Mayor and I were at the Santee Street Fair and Craft Festival, and actually I do know that Councilmember Trotter was there because I grabbed one of his pens from You Build It. Thank you very much. I love it. We missed each other because he came later and I had already left by then. The volunteers and vendors, they did a fabulous job. And then on Memorial Day, I attended the down. Was about the work on the Air Pollution Control Board, because I don't think I've ever researched or read more on a topic on any of the boards or committees or commissions that I sit on. And it rivals what I've researched on City Council for some of our bigger projects. And so I wanted to explain what could have been a catastrophic vote at the Air Pollution Control Board, but with a vote of 5-4 Thursday in a special meeting. After 2 years of research, community outreach, and workshops, the San Diego County Air Pollution Control Board took a vote that could have had long-lasting negative consequences for our region. The board was considering adopting a warehouse indirect source rule, a regulation that would have imposed significant compliance costs on warehouse operators throughout San Diego County. On the surface, it sounded straightforward. Cleaner air is something we all want. But when I dug into the data, as well as a few other of my, I don't know what to call them, other board members, colleagues, I spent months doing that, and the picture was more complicated. Staff analysis showed that the rule would have delivered less than 1% improvement in air quality in the AB 617 communities it was meant to help. And bottom line is there's only 2 AB 617 communities. One is Portside and one is near the border. And it would have been an extraordinary cost, over $1 billion. More than 70% of San Diego warehouses are located outside of those communities, yet the regulation would have covered all of San Diego County. The industries operating out of those warehouses span our entire economy: food distributors, furniture retailers, biotech, defense, and more. The downstream consequences for businesses and consumers were left out of the conversation to the AB 617 communities, with programs that will cost the business community money, but they are willing partners in this because they want SAR for all of San Diego County. We came very, very close to getting this wrong, and it would have been a major impact to our entire region. And but I wanted to report out on it because it was a big, big decision, and luckily it went the right way.
What about the cost? Did they have a cost to that?
So the cost to the economy was estimated at $1.5 billion for less than 1% cleaning up air pollution, less than 1%, which is near national, city, et cetera. They look at health factors. 3 of the top ones would be COPD, asthma, and lung cancer. And so you have 17 people in that community this is not deaths. This is just you have those health factors in that AB 617 community. 17 people, and the staff analysis said that it would reduce it to 5. Not deaths. It would just be, 5 people might have the impacts versus 17 people. And that was the result that they could give for $1.5 billion. Fiscally, it made no sense. And another point, I know this is where I'm going to get a little bit more long-winded about it, but it was just a lot of research. And there was a warehouse in Vista that served U.S. Foods, which is a major food distributor. And for other reasons, they moved out of Vista, and they moved. The only other indirect source rule that exists in the state of California is in L.A., inland, and it's called the South Coast ISR. And so U.S. Foods moved to South Coast, but because South Coast has that ISR, they also in their ISR have a vehicle miles traveled factor in it. And so the U.S. Foods basically told all the businesses, well, at least the ones that I had talked to in San Diego, we can't deliver food to San Diego anymore because there's a VMT attached to our ISR in LA. And that's Lantern Crest. Like Lantern Crest used to use U.S. Food, now they can't, so they're looking for another distributor. And meanwhile, Restaurant Depot, which delivers foods to a lot of smaller businesses, they can't do the high volume of U.S. Week. Cisco bought out Restaurant Depot. So now they're under this big conglomerate. Those prices for food are going to go way up, and now you've got food deserts. So, and then we would have been adding on top of that this onerous, oh my gosh. So anyway, it went the right way, but only by 1 vote. Just crazy, crazy.
You were great. Listen.
I just wanted to actually mention one more time, the city manager and the sheriff's captain mentioned that next week I'll be doing a joint forum with the one of our board members at Santee School District, Tracy Till. We'll be here talking about the e-bike stuff and some of the upcoming things we have for our summer with the kids getting out of school. And
Nothing? Well, being gone for the last 8 days was an eye-opener for me. Carl, you talked a lot about e-bikes and those little scooters and stuff that we stand on. Well, I was in New York, New Jersey, and Baltimore, and some places in between. I'm going to tell you right now, we should be thankful for the problems that we have here. It is unbelievable the way, and it wasn't kids. They were going, and they didn't stop at red lights. Man, if people in San Diego County saw this, they'd be going, this is what we don't want. And that what we do have might be bad. Drove there, boy, I'll tell you what, we wouldn't have enough deputies here to make traffic stops. I think it's one of the only, as bad as sometimes we think we have it here, other places, I think they have it worse off. And so we should be at least thankful for having the staff and whatnot for getting the job done that we do. So that's all I have. City manager?
I don't have anything to report.
City attorney?
No report, Mayor.
Thank you very much. All right, so that, well, let's mention this. Friday, the 29th, which is coming up in a couple days, from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. is the 2026